Quiet. When I said that it feels like you are on crack, I was just joking. So why the hell do we have this now? Seriously, the day Aphelios got released, Sett was revealed as well. You know how everyone is trying to finish their work so they can have free time during Christmas? Well, it feels like Riot is doing exactly that. They release everything before Christmas so that they can enjoy some free time. But you know who won't have free time? The people who have to cover this crap. Seriously, no one ever thinks of skin spotlights. They had to cover 12 skins last patch, and now we have 13 more, with chroma skins on top of that. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. I know that everyone likes it when we have a look at the interactions, because the interactions usually reveal who the champion is without actually reading the lore. Well, in the case of Sett, that is definitely gonna be the case, because his interactions are very simple. Spoiler alert, he doesn't have many interesting interactions. I believe that's on purpose because Sett in general is a very simple champion. His kit is very simple, he is supposed to be simple to play, and his lore is also very simple, but we will have a separate video on that. In this video, I will only tell you the TLDR version of his story, because some of his interactions do refer to things that you should know about. With that said, because as I said, he doesn't have many interesting interactions, which means that I will most likely skip through most of these interactions. So as a bonus, let's quickly jump into his design. As you can see, we already know everything about Sett. We know the story, he's on PvE, so we know the model, we know the art, everything is out. His skin too, by the way, which might be the coolest launch skin yet. But when we have a look at the design, there are three peculiar things. That is ignoring the fact that he has a mane on his shoulders. First of all, even though he is not necessarily a beast himself, as many expected, he is called the Beast Boy, because as you'll see from the interactions, he is a bastard of a Vastaya and a human, specifically a Noxian. But all those wolf-like designs can still be seen on him, especially when you look at his shoulders, that is where the design comes from. The second peculiar things are the people besides him. You can see there is an old man who looks like some kind of a master, and there is a woman that looks a little bit like Katarina. But interestingly enough, none of these guys were mentioned in his story. So as far as we know, they may be just totally random people who just befriended Sett. With that said, I should also mention that he is the master of an arena. A Noxian fighting pit in Ionia to be specific. But more on that when we have a look at the interactions. Lastly, notice that the throne he is sitting on is just wooden branches. That's because a lot of the interior in Ionia is created by the Wood Weavers, which are elementalist mages that have the ability to warp wood. They were mostly showcased in the finale of Riven and Yasuo. And since this is in Ionia, it's really cool to see that Riot has a good grasp at what the world should look like. But enough about pictures and the designs, let's now have a look at the interactions.
They called me Sett the Beast Boy Bastard. Now it's Sett the Beast Man Bastard.
First of all, again, all hail skin spotlights, as always. But also, Beast Boy Bastard, or Beast Man Bastard. His mother was a Vastaya, and his father was a Noxian soldier. And anyone who knows anything about Ionia and Noxus knows that he was probably created during the invasion of Ionia. That's why he looks like a human that is really hairy for some reason.
Toma, they started it.
So, first little hint as to what the story is about. See, even in Ionia, the love between a Vastaya and a human is not really that common. In fact, in that case, both the human and the Vastaya would be shunned. When Sett's mother showed him to the rest of the Vastaya, he wasn't accepted because he wasn't Vastayan enough. That's why Sett was forced to live with his mother and father in a Noxian camp. But similarly, the Noxians also didn't accept Sett, because he wasn't human enough, and the spawn of a Vastaya and a human was more like an abomination to them. The thing is that Sett's father was a really good fighter, and so none of the Noxians dared to speak against him. And that is how Sett and his mother remained relatively safe in the Noxian camp. Even though everyone hated them, they were safe because of his father. But as Sett grew up more, he found out that his father was a fighter in the Noxian pits. And when he learned that, his mother ordered him to stay as far away from the pits as possible. His mother didn't want him to follow the same steps. What's worse, one day his father simply disappeared, and with him, they were safe no longer. Suddenly, all those people who hated Sett and his mother hated him openly. And all those insults hardened Sett pretty quickly. But in time, he could take the insults no longer, and he started punching back. The thing is, his punches were really powerful. TLDR of the rest of the story, Sett found out that his father left to fight in more profitable pits. So essentially he deserted his family. And because Sett was really good at fighting as well, he joined the pits in hopes that one day maybe he will be able to fight against his father and kill him for deserting the family. That is the TLDR version of the story. So with that said, all of these interactions will suddenly make more sense. Such as the next one.
Tell my pa I hate him.
He hates him because he deserted the family.
My old man ran off. You'd be smart to do the same.
Something interesting when it comes to the way he speaks. Notice that he's saying my old man, which is something frequently used in animes, mangas. It's pretty much part of the Asian culture. Calling your father an old man is more like rebelling against your family. It usually doesn't mean that you don't like your parents, but it is similar to being in an emo state when you are a teenager, which perfectly fits Sett.
Look at you, old blood Vistaya. You too good for me? Huh?
See, those interactions are not necessarily clever or amazing, but they are nice little details about his story. He's mocking the Vastaya because the Vastaya didn't accept him, even though the Vastayan blood is in his veins.
You know, my mom's a Vastaya. That's the only reason I ain't stomped you yet.
Again, just a normal little
You're
insult.
about to see my human side. The part that ain't so nice.
Another one.
You know the deal, Noxus. Stay out of my business, and I stay out of yours.
Again, another reference to how he's dealing with the Noxians. This is something I didn't say in the TLDR version, but Sett was so good at fighting that he became the master of the Noxian pits. Or at least the one pit where he was fighting. And because he doesn't care about the Noxians, as long as they don't bother him, he doesn't care about them.
Hey, you're Noxian, just like my pa. I'll try not to hold it against you.
Again, for those of you who have no idea what the lore is about, this is a nice reference that his father was a Noxian. That's all these interactions are about. They are supposed to tell you the story of the champion without you actually reading the story. Which is really cool, and I would appreciate if I did this more. But for someone like me, I don't get any of those bonus juicy things that I wouldn't learn from the story.
To be the boss, you gotta beat the boss. I don't see you being the boss.
By the way, nice little detail as well with his title. He's called Sett the Boss, because he's the boss of the arena.
Hey, listen. My mama don't need to know about any of this. Okay?
Also, another thing that I didn't mention during the TLDR version, hence why we are going to make a full video on it, is that his mother doesn't actually know that Sett did eventually join the fighting pits. Sett is just lying about why he's so wealthy and where he's getting all the money from.
I remember my first fight. I ran home crying to mama. She wiped my tears with her claws.
Again, this is supposed to be a nice little reference to his mother being a Vastaya. Which, even if you had no idea about the lore, you would learn that from this interaction. Actually, it's not an interaction, it is just a move. But you know what I mean.
A wise master once said, be like water. Guess I'm kind of a tsunami.
Here, I wonder who the wise master is. It could be the person in the picture. Which means that we might get a bonus story when Sett is released about these people. Which would actually make sense. Because come to think of it, why would Riot put their random characters if they had no idea who they were either? Maybe this is a teaser that we will get a story about them as well.
Things I love. My mama, breaking necks, and fine Ionian silk.
Fine Ionian silk explains why his clothing is so good. Because if you look at his pants especially, those pants are shining. Although the finest silk in the world should still be in Shurima. But I do believe that Ionia would be a really good contender.
Probably shouldn't have worn my nice pants to this.
He does have nice pants.
My coat costs more than this whole damn place.
Wait. His coat? Where does the coat start and where does it end? Is that not his back hair? Was I swindled? That might not actually be his fur. Maybe that is just a coat. I feel cheated.
Love you, Ma. See you tomorrow.
Wait. That's his mother! That is his mother! Okay, that is a really cool detail. But that is it for the interactions. As I said, they weren't super interesting, at least to me, but they are really awesome because even people who don't read the lore will learn his lore just by playing the champion. Only very few champions do this, but I'm happy to see that Sett is one of them. By doing this, Riot is passively teaching people the story. And when this happens, if Riot sprinkles in just a little bit of more new information, perhaps some teases for new stories, those would be the perfect interactions. They would teach you the lore so you don't have to read the stories, they would connect the champion in-game with the stories, and if you are curious, you can use the in-game interactions to learn more. And if you are curious, you can use the in-game interactions to learn more than others. It is similar to Mordekaiser, but Mordekaiser did have those special little interactions on top of that. So, that's gonna be Sett. As I said, Riot released a bazillion things, including a lore skin for Silas. Yes, he did get a skin based on the latest story, which is amazing. The closest skin to this is Captain Fortune, but Captain Fortune was adopted as a lore skin after the story was finished, so maybe originally it wasn't even supposed to be a lore skin. But this time around, we got a lore skin that was officially released as a lore skin for the story. And that is amazing, which means that I have to cover the story of Silas next. So with that, I will see you next time. Can we get those pants as merch? Hey, did you know that we have social media and Twitch where we talk about other League facts and stories? And did you know that we have neat mugs and shirts too? The links to all of that will be below. And as always, thank you, come again.